So, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon to learn how EVs are better than ever. My name is Annika Osborne. I'm with Cool the Earth. We're an environmental nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions and local air pollution. And while we are big fans of walking, biking, public transit, and carpooling, preferably in an electric car or on an e-bike, with our Ride and Drive Clean collaboration, we work to advance the adoption of EVs, both EVs and e-bikes, in a fair and just marketplace. Today, we'll cover all the great reasons why we EV owners love driving electric, including the better driving experience, the cost savings, not just when buying or leasing an EV, but also the total cost of ownership, the lower total cost of ownership. The convenience of not having to go to the gas station, and the high safety ratings with all the great tech offered in today's EVs. We'll start with the benefits of driving electric. We'll talk about EV incentives, including our December EV discount campaign that's going on right now. Great savings on 5 EVs. Then we'll do an EV showcase just to show some of the most popular EVs out there. And then we'll talk a little bit more about, we'll go into some charging, some simple charging basics. And then we will talk a little bit more about who we are, Ride and Drive Clean, and what we're up to. And we'll end with a Q&A. So we will be going over a lot of information today, but not to worry. We'll be sending out a PDF of this presentation in our follow-up email. If any questions come up, feel free to raise your hand or ask them in the chat, and we'll answer them throughout the presentation or during the Q&A session. I'd like to introduce my coworker, Kevin Morrison, who will be helping me with the slides a bit and also answering questions in the chat. Okay, let's dive in. So there are many benefits to driving electric. In California, our passenger vehicles are the single largest source of GHG emissions, often representing 50% or more of our individual carbon footprint. So when we switch from a gas car to an EV and plug into clean energy like we can do here in the Bay Area, we are taking impactful climate action by reducing carbon emissions and air pollution, both which disproportionately impact our equity communities. And while driving electric is better for the planet, there's no sacrifice when you go electric. EV drivers save time, money, and enjoy an improved driving experience. I'd like to take a minute just to review the current state of EVs. Next slide, please. Globally and locally. So globally, EVs now make up roughly 25% of global new car sales, up from just 4% in 2020. In China and Europe, there aren't really many concerns. Electric vehicle adoption continues to go up, and policies in these places are a major, really helping things along. The U.S. crossed over the 10% milestone, which is the key marker of mass market momentum. But we've had some setbacks, like the end of the federal tax credit in September, and the federal government's focus on fossil fuels. Some are predicting that car manufacturers may slow down their production. We just heard that announcement with Ford and their F-150 Lightning. They're going to stop producing that. While we're also hearing that we'll be seeing over 50 new EV models in the next few years. So that's exciting. Maybe somewhere in between those. We'll see how things play out here. Another good bit of news is that infrastructure is catching up. There are over 200,000 public chargers now online, nearly double from 2 years ago. I mean, I've noticed that. I drive down to LA pretty often. And when I first started driving down, 6 years ago or so, I really had to map out my trip before I went down to LA. But now when I go down, it's so easy. There are so many places to stop and charge on both sides of the freeway. So both 5 and 101. So that's some really good news. And, we've really been experiencing this personally. So in Q3 2025, California shattered its own record with zero emission vehicles, capturing 29.1% of new car sales, underscoring how state policy and infrastructure really enables more rapid EV uptake. In some Bay Area counties, EV adoption is over 40% for new cars. So that's some good news here in the Bay Area, in California. We definitely have some catching up to do with Europe and China at this point. Okay, so many people save time with an EV by charging at home or at work and skipping the gas station. Next slide, please. And EVs are a little more fun to drive. What I really like is the extra torque or power that you can get when you drive an EV. I can quickly accelerate when getting on the freeway and easily maneuver between lanes. You just kind of power up a little bit and glide into where you want to go. The quiet and smooth drives make for great conversations when you're on a road trip. We were working with the city of Novato, I believe, and one of the police officers drives a Ford Mustang Mach-E. And she came in to talk a little bit about it, and she was like, for me, it's the quiet drive. There's so much going on as a police officer, and it's so nice to have a quiet, peaceful drive. With additional safety features and sensors in these high-tech cars, EVs are some of the safest cars out there to drive. Another benefit, next slide. Some people are worried about buying EVs because they won't be able to power them during power outages, but EVs can actually help during a power shutdown. You can plug an inexpensive 300-watt inverter into the accessory port and power up small appliances like cell phones, laptops, LED lights. That's the little red box there that you can just plug in to that accessory port. And, I've used this a couple times. Like 4 years ago, we lost power for 5 days. So I plugged in an extension cord and then a bunch of string lights. So in my living room, I had some nice light. Sometimes if I lose power during the day, I'll just go sit and work in my car with this handy little device and plug in my computer and my cell phone. But while this low wattage inverter cannot power up your refrigerator, many EVs that have been around for a few years, some of the Kias and Hyundais and the trucks can, because they have higher wattage bidirectional batteries. The F-150 Lightning can be integrated into the house's electrical system to provide backup energy to your home. It acts like a generator at home, and it's a battery on wheels when you need electricity away from your home. And that goes for all of these cars that have bidirectional charging, the Kias and the Hyundais. I just imagine, I'm a camper, a fan of camping. So camping with one of those cars, you can just bring like an induction cooktop, an electric kettle, and no need to bring the Coleman, propane tank, cooktop and tanks, propane tanks. You can just cook off of the battery of your EV. And it uses very little of the battery range to do so. So the technology around inverters is advancing quickly, and there are several companies working on vehicle-to-home energy management systems. So just imagine when you come home at the end of the day, when electricity is expensive and not so clean, you can power up your home with the energy stored in your EV battery, and then power up your EV battery at midnight when there's ample, clean, inexpensive electricity available from the grid. All right, next slide. A lot of people wonder about the batteries. So there are issues with batteries in terms of extracting critical minerals and the energy required to produce the batteries. But those issues pale in comparison to the extraction, transportation, and burning of fossil fuels. The good news about EV batteries is that besides the early Nissan Leafs, there is very little battery degradation. So the batteries will last for many miles. We're really not talking about replacing batteries in EVs. I know that's sort of a myth that people think, after 5 years, you have to replace a battery. But when a battery goes below maybe 80% of its full capacity, maybe after 8 to 10 years, the range is reduced. which is not catastrophic. You can still drive your EV using 80% of that range, just not as far on one charge. So, for your day-to-day driving, that might not make much of an impact. Maybe on a road trip, if you have a 10-year-old EV, you may have to stop one extra time to charge, which to me isn't really a deal breaker. But once it goes below your range needs, then there's the second life of EV batteries, using the batteries for stationary storage, which is something that our utilities are very interested in for grid stabilization. We produce a lot of solar energy in the US, and if we don't use it when the sun is shining or store it, when the sun goes down, it's gone. So there's a lot of research now being done to transition EV batteries for stationary storage. And then after being used to store energy, 98% of the materials can be recycled. Even the rare earth minerals like cobalt can be purified and then reused. So there are battery recycling centers for all lithium ion batteries. And that's good to know. I know there's been some bad press about batteries in gas cars and where those batteries are going. So yes, so we're happy with the industry and with the recycling and repurposing of batteries, and plus, of course, the batteries are just getting better and better all the time. So there's that as well. Okay, so early drivers paid a high premium for electric cars, and today's EV drivers often save money, and here are some reasons why. It costs much less to fuel an electric car. So fueling a gas car can be 2 to 5 times more expensive than fueling an EV, depending upon where and when you charge it. You can choose between different time of use rate plans to make sure that you're charging your EV only when electricity is the cheapest, and usually the cleanest. Maintenance costs are 40% lower for fully electric EVs. It's basically adding windshield wiper fluid and rotating your tires, which is something I do every 6 months. I do think you may have to replace your tires a little bit sooner than with a gas car because the batteries are pretty heavy, but that's not really significant. Then there are incentives available, which can bring down the cost of purchasing or leasing an EV. We have been seeing some continued great lease deals on certain cars over the last few months, even after the federal tax credit has gone away. And so we'll move on and talk a little bit about how you can save money on an EV. Kevin, next slide. Thank you. So there are currently 3 types of incentives that can save you money when you buy or lease certain EVs, depending upon where you live and your income. So the Ride and Drive Clean December discount campaign is here now for the month of December with big savings on 5 popular EVs. We'll be starting to talk about that. There are also California state grants available for residents with lower incomes, and also specifically for residents who live in areas that have poor air quality. These are kind of run by the Air District. So there's Clean Cars for All, which is a retire and replace incentives program. You have to retire a 2007 or older gas car in working condition, and then you can get a grant for up to $12,000, depending upon where you live. With the Drive Clean Assistance Program, it offers $7,500 in rebates for income qualifying residents, and you don't have to turn in a new car. But for both of these, you do have to apply for and receive the grants in hand before purchasing your EV. You bring those grants with you to your dealership. So depending upon where you live and who provides your electricity, there may be additional incentives through PG&E or your utility. So PG&E has a pre-owned EV rebate and a rebate plus. So anyone who receives a bill from PG&E can get $1,000 off of a used EV if you buy it through the proper channels, meaning through a registered dealership. And depending upon your income, you may be able to qualify for $4,000. This is an incentive that you apply for after you get your EV. You also can check with your local CCA, or municipal utility. So, for example, if you get your electricity from MCE, PCE, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, San Jose Clean Energy, AVA, you still get your bill from PG&E, but you might be getting your electricity from these alternative electricity providers. They often have, many of them have incentives as well. Many of them are dependent on income as well. But the best way to really find out which incentives you qualify for is to check out a savings calculator like this one here on this slide. The Drive Clean California. So you put in your household income, your zip code, how many people live in your household, and it'll let you know exactly which incentives you qualify for. Okay, so we're going to first talk about the Ride and Drive Clean EV discount campaign. So we've been running discount campaigns with our partner Cartelligent for over 6 years, and we've literally helped thousands of people save hundreds of thousands of dollars on EVs through this partnership. So when Cartelligent is able to negotiate special exclusive discounts on certain EVs, they contact us and we run these EV discounts. So currently we have 5 EVs on this that have exclusive discounts right now, and they also all have special manufacturing rebates and other ways to save as well. Cartelligent typically offers a service fee of $595. If you choose one of these 5 cars during the month of December, that will be waived, which means it's kind of like a no-risk opportunity to explore. It will cost you nothing to explore what their pricing can be. If you choose a different EV and you let them know that you're coming from Ride and Drive Clean, they will give you $100 off that $595, so it'll be $495. But for these 5 EVs, they waive their service fee and they have exclusive discounts. The way to take advantage of that is to sign up on our website. So I am putting that discount campaign link in the chat right now. And as I did that, I see that there are a few questions, and I will come back to those momentarily. I'll just finish this slide. So they can be stacked with other incentives. We'll be going over each car in the next couple of slides. You must be in contract by 12/31/25. You can actually pick up your EV in 2026. You can do an e-contract if you get towards like later in this month. I know it's a busy time of the year. Okay, I just want to take a look at some of these questions. What is the device in the picture in the middle of slide 6? Yes, that is an adapter. Sorry, I'll go back to this real quickly. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, the one in the middle, sorry, I should have explained. This is the adapter that you use if you have one of these Kias or Hyundais with a bidirectional battery. So you just plug in that adapter and then you can plug in a power strip and power up, your appliances. We do this at a lot of our events, for example. We pop popcorn, we have a fan running, we run a cooler, we have lights up off of the battery of the EV just to kind of demonstrate how this works. But really, probably the best use is, being able to plug in a refrigerator for about a week if there's a power outage. So no need for a generator. Yeah, so that's the picture there. Okay, heading back to slide. Oh, how many EV batteries are actually making it to utility storage? Yeah, I don't know. I know, Ralph, that there's a lot of research being done right now to do that. I mean, I'm thinking utilities could use these batteries, for storage, but then I'm wondering also if we can use these batteries at home, if there's some way to transform them as home battery storage devices so that we can power up our homes through these batteries as well. And it's true, because there aren't that many EV batteries, that have come out of cars, There aren't that many yet, but we do know there's like Redwood Recycling Center, which is, I think, in Arizona or Utah, around that area. And then Tesla has a recycling center near their battery manufacturer in Sparks, Nevada. And I got the Hyundai Kona um, total cost of ownership example from the PG&E EV website. Yeah. And it is public, yes. So you can search the PG&E EV, and I can share that with you if toward the end, if you're still interested. Okay, next slide. So we're going to go through these cars one by one. So the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has been a very, very popular car the last few years. We're offering the 2026 with potential savings up to $7,250. So the exclusive discount that Cartelligent has negotiated, regardless of how you purchase or lease it, is $1,500. So if you lease it, there's an additional $5,750 lease rebate for a total of $7,250. If you finance it, you have that $1,500 exclusive discount and the $1,500 rebates for a total of $3,000. So that's the deal we have now. Cartelligent has anecdotally told us that the Hyundai Ioniq 5 has been their most popular car sold. And they do, in the last few months, they do EVs and gas cars. It's been the most popular car that they have sold. And it's definitely one of the top 10. I think it's the top 5th most popular car in the US this last year. We also have the 2025 Kia EV6. So this car sits on the same platform as the Hyundai. They're sort of sister companies. With this one, the starting price is a little higher, but the potential savings is also higher, up to $18,400. We have an exclusive discount of $1,000. So when you lease it, you might be able, depending upon which trim you could get up to $18,400 off of the lease deal. If you pay cash or finance it, $11,000 off. You get that exclusive discount plus the manufacturer rebate. I will say something that's different about these cars. So many of you have probably heard that we're moving over to a new standard of charging, and it's the North American Charging Standard. It's essentially the Tesla standard. So these were the first two non-Tesla EVs to put in the native Tesla port in these cars so that you can just back up it at the Tesla supercharging station and plug in. You do probably have to use the Tesla app to do that. Maybe the Kia and Hyundai apps have something special you could use as well. I will tell you a little bit of a differentiator. For the Hyundai Ioniq 5, that port is on the passenger side. So it's a little bit trickier to get to the charging station at the Tesla supercharging station, because with Teslas they're always on the back, on the backside of the driver's side. But with the Kia EV6, it's on the backside of the driver's side. So you just back in and plug in. So it's a little bit easier. Now, I will say that in the next generation of Tesla superchargers that are coming out, I've already used them many, many times on my way to Tahoe, to LA. The cables are longer, so it's easier to charge that Hyundai Ioniq 5. But I do know some people have to take up 2 parking spots in order to reach, if you're using one of those older Tesla chargers. And they're also meant to be changing out their charging cables to make them all longer. Yes, you get a little more. So yes, I see your question. The Ioniq 5 is a beautiful car. It seems like leasing gives more credit. Yes, that is correct. Typically, there have been better lease deals, in the last year or so. A lot of times people like to lease their EVs also just because the technology is new and it's changing quickly. But the nice thing is that both of these cars have a nice high range, around 320 miles, which is really awesome. I was talking to Cartelligent at an event that we did in Palo Alto a couple of weeks ago. They said the leasing deals for the Kia EV6 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5 are pretty similar. So definitely worth exploring. I know in the last year, some people have been able to get lease deals between $200 and $350. Kind of depends on your credit score and which car you want. Okay, I don't see any more questions right now. We'll keep moving along. All right. There's the 2026 Kia EV9, which was the car of the year in 2024. This car has 3 rows of seats, and there's some great savings here, $14,500. Wallbox is one of those like car to grid, vehicle to grid companies. And they have a pilot going on with the Kia EV9 that if you get a Wallbox charger, you can charge up your home with your EV battery if you're using this Wallbox inverter. So that's something to explore if that's interesting to you. Yeah, it's a bigger car and very, very popular. There's also the 2026 Toyota BZ. It used to be the BZ4X, I believe, but they shortened the name, which I'm thankful for because it was really a mouthful and I could never remember all of those letters and numbers. But yes, so there are lots of savings available on this car. And finally, yeah, I have a friend who just got this car. He traded out his Tesla Model 3 and switched into the Toyota BZ, and he's super happy with it. And my favorite of all, the 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz. Really big savings on this one, regardless of how you decide to get that car. Whether you lease it, pay cash, or finance it, you can get $15,000 off. Yeah, this is kind of like a dream car for me. I imagine like driving up and down the coast of California in this car with a little coffee maker and like hanging out by the beach, having a little picnic. I don't know, maybe in a year or two, we'll see. Okay, so those are the 5 EVs that are available this month. And I'll just talk a little bit about how it works. First, you sign up on our webpage, which I've put right here. So there's a description. Oh yes, Kevin's going to walk us through it. This is what it's like, what it looks like, exclusive EV discounts. And we scroll down, we can take a look at the 5 featured vehicles. I will note this campaign is sponsored by the City of Palo Alto Utilities, but anybody can take advantage of it as long as you live in California. You can scroll down and look through all those details on the different cars. And the most important thing is to sign up on this web page. So this is the Ride and Drive Clean's web page for the discount campaign. And so you'll fill out this information. You can you'll select the car that you're interested in. You might be interested in a different car where it says, please select. You can look at that drop-down menu there and see the different options. And then, if you have more information, like maybe there's a specific car that's not on this list that you're interested in, you could put that in the comments. Or if you want to do a trade-in, Cartelligent does trade-ins. And the way they've talked to me about that is they typically have better trade-in pricing than dealers, but you always make more money if you sell it on your own. So somewhere in between there. I do have friends who have traded in their gas cars with Cartelligent and felt really happy with the trade-in price that they got. So make sure you hit that submit button when you're done. That way it goes into our database. Our database speaks with Cartelligent's database, and then Cartelligent will reach out to you within 24 hours. So then you'll be able to have an initial call or an emails back and forth with Cartelligent, and you'll determine which EV is the best one for you. And then, you'll tell them what kind of trim you're looking for, what kind of features you want, and importantly, what color car you want. And then they'll go out and source that car for you with the dealers that they're working with on this discount campaign, the ones that are off, that they have negotiated that special exclusive discount with. Then they'll come back to you with the different offers available. You can compare pricing for financing versus leasing, compare between the Kia EV6 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5, whatever you want. And then you can decide Once you make that decision on which EV you want, then you'll go to any one of the four offices that they have in Menlo Park, Walnut Creek, Sausalito, or Irvine, if you're down in SoCal. And so you show up, you sign the papers if you haven't already done an e-signature, and they give you a little tour of the car, tell you how to charge it, because if you're new to driving electric, that's pretty important. They tell you, share some of the main features, and off you go. It's a much less painful experience than going directly through the dealer. I don't know if, I know my own experience is often it's like a 3-hour situation, and then lots of talks and negotiation. In this case, Cartelligent does all of the negotiating for you. And the great news is they negotiate car deals every day in and out. So they're really good at this. We might think we're better at it. And Cartelligent really is excellent at doing this. Test driving these cars is a great idea. We recommend that once you've sort of narrowed it down to 3 to 5 cars, find one of those auto malls that has lots of different, EVs, next to each other, and go and test out the cars. It's really important that you feel comfortable in the car. Check to make sure there are no blind spots for you, that you can adjust the seat exactly how you want to, and that it has all the features that you desire. So you test drive at the dealerships. My advice there is just don't go inside, because once you go inside, that's when the negotiations start. And I've heard from so many people, especially lately, that sometimes the dealers are trying to sell extra features and extra things that aren't really necessary. So if you do want to look at both the dealership model or Cartelligent, that's fine with us. We just want you to get an EV, so however you do it is fine. But make sure you are comparing apples to apples, because oftentimes there are hidden fees that you don't see so much with Cartelligent. With Cartelligent, it's very transparent. Yes, Cartelligent is exclusive to California. There may be a difference in insurance coverage. It really depends on your insurance and who is covered in your home. I've heard some people say there's no difference, and I've heard some people say, these are brand new cars with very high-tech parts, like sensors. So some people say that insurance is a little more expensive for EVs, maybe up to 5% more expensive. It sort of depends. So because I see here any specials for a Tesla, we don't have any specials because Tesla has their own purchasing system. You can buy online or go into one of their showrooms to buy. With Tesla, you can also buy used off of their website. And we do recommend working with another used auto dealership called Emotion Autos. They're one of our partners. Both Kevin and I have purchased our EVs through them. They have a really interesting model where they go out and they go to auction to find the EV of your dreams. So if you have very specific ideas of what you want, you have it narrowed down, you tell them. I've gotten a Model Y and a Polestar from them. I want gray, I want these tires, I want a 4.5 out of 5 on the body of the car, I want it to be this year, this is the trim level, and they'll go to auction and find it, often for a better price than anything I've been able to compare it to. So they're really wonderful to work with. Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. You have both experiences. My last 2 cars have been used. Actually, my last 3 cars have been used. So I've been working exclusively with Emotion. Okay, moving on. I just want to touch briefly. I know not everybody qualifies for these California state grants, but I just wanted to let you know they're in this slideshow that I will be sending to you. Here's the information about Clean Cars for All. And then the next one is Drive Clean Assistance Program. Just so you know, how to get in touch with these or how to connect with them. And then the following slide is the PG&E pre-owned EV rebate. Again, $1,000 for anyone who gets a used car, who lives in the PG&E service area, and perhaps $4,000. You do have to apply within 180 days of taking delivery. The EV must be registered to the applicant's PG&E residential address. And there are a few more details there that you can check into. Okay. Emotion Autos, interestingly, they actually have a dealership, a showroom up in Benicia, but they are both located in the Bay Area, and you don't really need to visit them in any way. You don't test drive these cars. They actually deliver the car to you, to your residence, which is really nice. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, so next slide, please. With so many different EVs and all of the benefits to driving electric, the question is, which EV is the right one for you? So I've listed the starting prices. So on the following slides, I've listed some of the starting prices and sorry, this is just on this slide here, sorry. Right, this is the starting price for new and used. Of course, the used one varies a little bit. But I did want to just note that there is truly an EV for every lifestyle and budget. When I started doing this work, there were 11 EVs available, and that wasn't really the case, but now it is. Most fully electric EVs offer 250 to 350 miles of range. Some go even farther on one charge, like the Lucid. That means you can get from San Francisco to Tahoe with just maybe a 15-minute charging break. And with some of these EVs, you don't have to stop at all. And then coming home, you typically don't have to stop because EVs have something called regenerative braking. So your EV battery is charging when you're not accelerating. So that actually adds range to your drive. Okay, next slide. So here come the EVs. I'm doing a bit of a showcase here. So with some of the most popular EVs that have been around for a while, some that came out in 2024 and some 2025. The prices listed are the base MSRP, and I've starred the ones that are part of our discount campaign. But before I get started, I would like to note that the average price of buying a new car in the United States in 2025 is $50,000. So you'll see here that there are many EVs available for less than that. The Nissan Leaf has been around for many, many years, since 2011. Some of the earliest EV owners drove that Nissan Leaf that only had like 100-mile range or so. This year, for 2026, actually, they've updated this range to 303. They've styled it a little bit better. And the price is amazing for that kind of range. So we're really excited about seeing, this upgrade with the Nissan Leaf. The Hyundai Kona and the Kia Niro, these are also sort of sister companies. They came out in 2019. They're really nice, reliable cars, and both of these models have been upgraded in 2024 and 2025. So that's really nice. Some of them even come with bidirectional charging. You do want to make sure you check on the trim level, though, because not all of them do. Next slide. Here are some bigger EVs that also have great value. So Chevy has been mixing it up with some new models, including the Chevy Equinox, which has a very reasonable MSRP and mile range. I will say that, okay, I'll do the next one. The Ford Mustang Mach-E has been a very popular car. I just looked this up and I just saw an article. So the 10 most popular EVs that have been sold this last year. Number 1 is the Tesla Model Y, by far. Number 2 is the Tesla Model 3, by far. Number 3 is the Chevy Equinox. Number 4 is the Ford Mustang Mach-E. So these are very popular EVs out there. The Toyota BZ, I don't think made that list, but it is part of our discount campaign, and there are some great lease deals on that Toyota. The Volkswagen ID4 was, I think, car number 8. I think it came in right before the Cybertruck. So that is also one of the very popular EVs. Volkswagen is promising a new EV every year. So we're excited for that. Next slide. Here are some good value bidirectional EVs that also have very fast charging. So these three EVs, the Kias and the Hyundais, not only do they have bidirectional batteries, so you can power up your refrigerator for a week, you can go to a fast charger if you're on a road trip, for example, and charge from 10 to 80% in just 18 minutes. Just enough time to stretch your legs and get something to drink. The Kia, the Kona EV might be dropping. That's a good point. I haven't heard any final information on that one. But I do know Hyundai and Kia are still building out their factories here in the US. All right, so here comes Tesla. With Tesla, we like to focus on the technology and the public charging access. People love Teslas for their fast, easy, and reliable charging. And these are great cars, especially for people who live in apartments and condos who can't charge at home because of the Tesla supercharging network. But we know it's going to get easier for all EVs, as all EVs will be able to using these supercharging stations, or many of them anyway. Anyway, the Model 3 and Y are the most affordable models, and several trims. So I mean, the starting price is really great, especially for the range that you could be getting. And yeah, just to make a note on that North American charging standard, Tesla is opening their fast charging network to allow more EV drivers to charge at over 15,000 supercharging stalls across North America. You can easily drive a Tesla from California to New York. So, and then soon every car, just because of this benefit. We think this is really game-changing. Yeah, so far we're seeing the Fords, Rivians, GMs, including Chevys and Cadillacs, Volvo, Polestar, Nissan, Lucid, Mercedes, Hyundai, Genesis, Kia, all being able to charge on the supercharging network. And soon we'll see BMW, JLR, Honda, Acura, Toyota, Subaru, Volkswagen, Audi, and Porsche. This should be coming in the new year if it's not already available. All right, next slide. Here are some more popular EVs in the mid-range. The Honda Prologue is hugely popular. I think it came in as the 8th most popular EV that was sold this last year. The Polestar 2 is real popular as well. It's a fun car to drive. I own one of those if you have any questions. The Audi Q4 e-tron comes in at a great price, $20,000 less than the regular Audi e-tron. And the Chevy Blazer has a good amount of space and great towing capacity. It's higher end than the Chevy Equinox, and you see that in the pricing. But all of those cars you can already charge at the Tesla supercharging stations. Here are some popular EVs on the higher end, but don't let these starting prices scare you away because many have great lease prices still. And the Lucid Air, you can drive from the Bay Area to LA without having to stop to charge. I think now their range goes up even higher than 485, so that's pretty amazing. Okay, next slide. If finding a parking spot is often on your mind, one of these smaller EVs should be on your radar. The Volvo EX30 came out last year. It's small in size and big on safety, according to Volvo. The Fiat 500e was popular for many, many years. They took it off the market for a few years, and it made a comeback in 2025. But I'm seeing that they might not be continuing in 2026. But I think that car wins the cutest car of all of them. The Mini Cooper is also a really nice option. They've upped their range a little bit. And, if you like driving Mini Coopers, you'll love this EV. Next slide. If you're looking for a bigger EV, here are a few options. A couple of these qualify for our discount campaign this month. So the Rivian S1 is a large SUV. It's built for adventures. And Rivian is installing fast chargers in far-reaching places like national parks. I've seen them out at Crissy Field, Yosemite, Stinson Beach. So that's really great. That Mercedes-Benz comes in at a nice price as well. And then there are electric trucks. And the electric trucks are basically generators at home and batteries on wheels on the road. We've talked a little bit about the F-150 Lightning. Unfortunately, that one's going away. But the Silverado EV has a foldable rear bulkhead, which can extend the bed length to over 9 feet. It also has advanced towing capacity up to 11 outlets. So if you want to power up different appliances, you can do so easily with the Chevy. The Rivian R1T, also super popular. We know with Rivian there's going to be an R2 coming out soon. We believe that's going to be more of the SUV. I should have mentioned that on the other side. And that should be coming out at a lower price. Gosh, close to 2 million people have ordered the Tesla Cybertruck. I think officially it was the 9th most popular car. And I'm just going to say, although it may look a little intimidating on the road, I have test driven this car and it's just like a regular Tesla. It's very comfortable and easy to drive, and all 4 wheels turn. So the turning capacity is really great on that car. All right, and one slide about plug-in hybrids. Plug-in hybrids, we used to call the gateway car to an EV before these longer range EVs came out and people were nervous. But now we've proven that EVs work great. But for some people, getting a plug-in hybrid is the way to go based on your lifestyle. People can do most of their driving on all electric if you can charge it every day and save the gas tank for road trips. Let's see. The one downside about plug-in hybrids is that you don't get those total cost of ownership reductions for maintenance because you still have to get smog checks and oil changes and all that, since it has both systems. So just a couple of slides to go, a few more about how to EV, which is mostly about charging. So people get worried about charging, but for most people, 80 to 90% of charging is done at home or at work. Charging at home is easy. You just plug in the charger that comes with your vehicle into a standard 120 volt outlet. There are no install costs besides perhaps an extension cord, and it will give you between 30 and 50 miles of charge in 8 hours. So that seems like not enough. But in the Bay Area, on average, people drive 25 miles a day. So this car, or charging with level 1, works great for most people. And if you drive more than 40 miles a day, a good option is to see if you can charge at work. If not, you may want to purchase a home charging station for level 2 charging. You'll get about 25 miles in an hour, so you can easily get a full charge overnight. But I do want to point out that charging an EV is different from filling up a gas car. You're basically just topping off the electricity that you use each day. For me, that's going from about 60% of my battery charge to 80% on a daily basis. It's rare that I need to charge my car from 10 to 100% on the daily. It's rare for anybody to have to do that. I also wanted to throw out an alternative with some EVs. I know with Tesla, the Polestar, the Hyundai, you don't actually need a charging station. You just really need to wire a 240 volt outlet to where you charge your car. And then you can get an adapter that goes on the charging cable that you can use that plugs into the 240 volt outlet. So that's what I do at home. I've never had a charging station. I just use that adapter and plug it, screw it onto the charging cable that comes with it. So that's worked out great for me. Charging away from home is easy too. There are many level 2 charging, public charging chargers available. So you can charge when you're around town and running errands. But when you are on a road trip, you'll want to fast charge with a level 3 charger, the fastest charging available. So there are currently 3 standards for fast charging, for level 3 charging. The CHAdeMO is on the left, and that's the one that the Nissan Leaf used to use. And some older manufacturers, but now that 2026 Nissan has 2 different ports. They have that native Tesla port, and I believe they also have a CCS port now. The one on the right is the Tesla port, which is now known as the North American Charging Standard. The one in the middle is the one that all other cars have as we are transitioning to the Tesla standard, to the NACS standard. So many cars still have that one in the middle, but there's an adapter that you have, that you can use so that you can use the Tesla charging stations. Next slide. Once you start driving electric, it's ideal to charge your EV from rooftop solar. Gosh, there is a federal tax credit available through the end of the year. I'm so sad to see this is going away at the end of the year. It is a great feeling to charge your EV from the electricity that you generate from your own roof, and it is certainly very affordable to charge your EV when you have solar. And for more resilience, you can get a battery for storage. If you are not in contract for solar at this point, it might be very hard to get solar. But if you're not ready for solar, no worries. Utilities and CCAs have clean energy options and affordable rate plans. So some offer a special EV time of use rate plan so that you can pay less for electricity during certain times of the day. If you get your bill from PG&E, that time of the day is typically midnight to 3 p.m., but there are several different time of use rate plans that you can choose from now, and you set your car to only charge during that time. So because I have solar at my house, I set my car in the winter to start charging at about 8 a.m., and I tell it to stop at 3 p.m. because that's when my electricity rates go up. So I'm only charging during the least expensive times. It's really easy to set that up. Many CCAs also offer these managed charging systems like MCE Sync or Grid Savvy with Ava, where they actually manage your charging. You have an app, and they charge it when the electricity is cleanest and cheapest. So that's really good news. All right, next slide. There are several EV charging solutions for people who live in multifamily buildings, in apartments or condos, and more solutions are on their way. People can charge by plugging into a standard 120-volt outlet if it's available and allowed. Sometimes it's not allowed because if you're in a shared parking garage at an apartment, oftentimes the outdoor outlets are shared by everybody who lives there. Also, this could be in an HOA situation. But there are these new smart outlets that are an inexpensive solution to charging that also handles billing. People also charge at work, and they charge at public fast charging stations. Some manufacturers offer deals at point of sale, like free charging for 2 years. So with Electrify America or with EVgo. So that's something to explore. On average, fast charging will get you about, from 10% of your battery to 80% in 30 minutes. I would say on average. That is because some of the older models like Chevy Bolts take about 45 minutes to go from 10% to 80%. But most new EVs are looking at more like 20 minutes for doing that kind of charging. So we're not quite at the gas station model of 5 minutes for charging, but we're getting closer and closer all the time. Just a few more slides. So charging on the road, taking a road trip is getting simpler all the time. Thousands of public charging sites provide fast charging, and using apps like PlugShare and a better route planner, and really just Google Maps, it's easy to plan a trip and find chargers along the way. Electrify America, EVgo, Tesla, and ChargePoint are some of the more popular fast charge point operators in California. So when you go electric, I recommend that you download all of those apps hook up your credit card to them. So when you're on a road trip or in a pinch and need to use them, you don't have to set it all up. It's already done. And having those apps when you go to use public charging makes it more affordable to charge also, rather than just putting in your credit card. Okay, next slide. Tesla's North American Charging Standard, or NACS, is becoming the new industry standard, opening access to the nation's largest and most reliable fast charging network. So, universal access means that most new EVs now include the NACS port or will offer an adapter, enabling their use of a Tesla supercharger. I actually got an adapter for my Polestar on Amazon for less than $150, a Lectern brand. It also opens up more charging options. Over 15,000 supercharger stations across North America are becoming available to all EV brands. It's faster, easier charging. NACS offers high power, reliable charging with simple plug and charge convenience. We will say the Tesla supercharging network is very reliable. There are often many, many charging ports at every charging station, especially when you're driving to LA. Some of them have 50 ports, some have 100 ports, some have 120 ports. It just opened up in Lost Hills, which is kind of close to Santa Clarita. It's north of the Grapevine, so if you're heading down to LA from San Francisco, it's just north of the Grapevine. So exciting stuff. All right, next slide. A little bit more about who we are and what we do. Ride and Drive Clean. We're here to help people switch to driving electric. Join us for our campaigns, our EV discounts, our EV exports, and at our ongoing programming. I don't have anything up at this point on our events page, but I'll be adding several webinars for January. If you want to take advantage of our discount campaign, those 5 awesome EVs that are being offered, I just dropped the link in the chat right now, rideanddriveclean.org, December 2025 EV discounts. Don't forget to sign up on the form of that page if you would like Cartelligence fee waived and access to that exclusive discount. Okay, one final thing. I'd really like to thank you all for attending this program today, wherever you are in your journey to an EV. I hope it was helpful. I want to also thank City of Palo Alto Utilities for funding our December discount campaign. If you can make the switch to driving electric now, we're here to help. The sooner the better. If you're not ready now, can we have your support by pledging to make your next car electric? Our biggest ask really is please don't buy a new gas car. It will be on this earth emitting carbon and air pollution for 12 to 15 years. And we more than ever have to start doing that as quickly as possible. There are some headwinds going, against us here, and we want to make sure that we can keep reducing emissions and stall climate change.
Hi, Annika. This is Ralph Infantino.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I'm actually with a sister organization of yours. I'm with Drive Electric Long Island.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so great presentation. I wanted to join to see the things that you were focusing on. I think it's really fantastic. And we're basically on the other coast doing the same thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have you connected with any car concierge services back east that might be able to offer special discount campaigns that we do?
No, I haven't. And that's why I was a little bit curious about whether that was exclusive to California, but I see that it is.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, I wish we could sell all over, but there may be other concierge services available. And if you want to email me, I can connect you with Cartelligent. Maybe they know of some other organizations that might be able to help you.
Sure. Are you going to share your email address or?
Yes, I will share it with you right now.
All right, thanks. All right.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for your good work.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other questions? Not seeing any questions in the chat right now. Okay, advertised agenda listed bidirectional charging. What's the state of availability? So we did a slide on that. So currently, many of the cars offer bidirectional charging. Many of these are the Kias and the Hyundais. So that's something to explore. So you can power, they act as a generator at home because they have something called vehicle to load. So you can plug in an extension cord, a power strip, and power up your refrigerator for a week if there's a power outage, or you can, power up other appliances as well. We know there's a little red box, a small inverter that you can use if your car does not have bidirectional charging. None of my cars do, and I've definitely used that little red box just to power up my computer or my my cell phone as needed. And then, so we're moving in the direction of vehicle to home. I know Decibel is one company that's working on it. Wallbox is also working on these inverters that are bidirectional so that you use the same cable to plug in to charge your EV and to disperse the electricity to your home. So we're not quite there. I think really the thing that's been stalling this progress is getting sign-off from EV manufacturers that it does not break their warranty, as far as I understand. We need more research to make sure that this does not really degrade the battery, like more cycles going both ways. So that's sort of what we are waiting on more. But we're still seeing lots of articles and headlines about this industry moving forward. And I think it will really help our grid when we can do this. And save us all some money. Les.
Les Klein. One of my family members has some mobility issues. She's not able to get into even one of these many SUVs that are becoming so popular. Mm-hmm. Would you see the lower vehicles becoming more popular or less popular over time?
Like the lower being able to get in lower?
Yeah, for example, we have a conventional car right now. This person has no problem getting in and out of it. We went to a dealership, looked at the Ioniq 5, and she was just barely able to get into that since that's taller. There's no way she could get into, say, Model Y.
I was going to say the Model 3 and the Model Y are pretty low to the ground, actually. The Model 3 is lower to the ground. I have seen people who are in that situation being able to maneuver into those cars.
Right. Well, I can see why the Model 3 and the Lucid and the Polestar.
Yeah, they're sedans.
Yeah, so they look like they would be more friendly to this situation.
Yes.
Would you expect that they will continue to be at least somewhat popular? The Leaf also would be in that category.
The Leaf would be in that category, as would the Chevy Bolt be. I think and.
Well, there's no more Bolts.
Well, it's coming back in 2026.
Oh, is it?
Should be coming back. We're hoping it will come back in 2026. Fingers crossed. I do hear a lot of people asking for this, so I think. I wonder if there are any forums. There are probably some forums available where you can join a forum and ask these questions, or there are a lot of people who are looking to go electric who need some accommodations. So,
right, yeah. Well, I expect there's disability groups and AARP and such that
that are specific to EVs. People who want to get EVs. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. We'll go ahead and end this call in 30 seconds.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, Ralph. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Happy holidays. Signing off for the year after this. Feel free to email me, though. Respond to the email that will be coming your way from info@rideanddriveclean.com.